This is Action Sports Jax First and 10 Training Camp, sponsored by Farah & Farah, the exclusive personal injury law firm of the Jaguars.
All right, this is the best play at camp that our cameras were allowed to roll on. Marcel Robinson delivered with the slow-mo this morning. It's Trevor Lawrence catching a pass, a Trevor special, the Duval special. How about him hauling that in? He found it, he tracked it, he caught it. Fun play in practice as those guys were having some fun. And the fans erupted. They were right in front of them when they did that. I am sure there are better highlights from camp, but our cameras are not allowed to roll on some of the plays in the team session. So we'll go with that one. Welcome to First and 10 Training Camp, everyone. I'm Brent Martineau. I'll walk through tomorrow and a game day on Saturday. It's almost time. Jags and Chiefs on CBS 47 Saturday night. The Jags putting in their final practice before they go live against the Super Bowl champs. Doug Peterson is a former player, so he has a good feel for how to manage the pace of camp. Had 4 tough days over the weekend stretch, then an off day, and a little bit lighter this week going into the game. Have the bodies ready to go. Trevor Lawrence is in his 4th camp. We heard from him today for the first time since the first practice on July 25th. Here's his assessment.
The stuff that I felt like we really need to improve on from last year, including myself, I do think we've taken big steps in those areas. Every day has not been perfect, not been clean necessarily, but a lot to learn from. And I think that's what camp's about. And you want that competitive spirit and you want to go back and forth. And I think the guys have done a really good job of that.
He's been very businesslike. Some Jags notes, Doug Peterson ruling out Anton Harrison and Ezra Cleveland. So Trevor will be missing a couple of offensive linemen. That's never good. The head coach wants to see both sides of the ball execute what they've worked on this camp. It's really about yourself, not about the Chiefs. And bad news for Deshaun Dixon. That knee injury the other day was an ACL. He had been battling to be the Jags' 4th pass rusher. Hate to see that happen. Going back to February, the question that hasn't been fully answered in front of a microphone, who is going to call plays this season? Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl as a play caller and did it in 22 with Jacksonville. Offense coordinator Press Taylor did it last year. It's getting more clear that Taylor will be the guy again, but Peterson is yet to close the door on the topic.
For preseason, Press will do it for preseason, yeah.
And it's still up in the air as for Dolphins?
Yes. Press is going to, I mean, with him in preseason, Press is going to try it on the field. I know that. I told him he'll like it. He'll like it down there.
It'll be cool to see him down there and interact with him. I think it'll be good for him to get a feel for just the team. Because, you know, there's some games are just different. And the feel at the beginning, you feel it as players and coaches on the field, but I'm sure it's different from the press box or the coach's booth. We'll see how that changes things, if it does at all. I don't really know. Doesn't change what I have to do, so I haven't really thought about it, to be honest.
That play calling's under the microscope going into the season. Another good day for rookie Brian Thomas Jr. If you poll fans on who they want to watch the most on Saturday night, I've got a feeling BTJ will win that question. He will make his NFL debut on the outside for the Jags. The Jags' deepest position coming out of camp last year was wide receiver. It's pretty deep again this time around. Thomas, Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Devin Duvernay, all locks. Parker Washington appears to be one as well. Then who will be the final receiver, or will the Jags keep 7 again? Tim Jones, Denzel Mims, Seth Williams, Josh Cephas, and others. Then there's Elijah Cooks. He was a camp find last year and made the team. He's trying to do it again. Action Sports Jax Marcel Robinson catching up with him today.
I mean, I feel like I've had a solid camp. There's always things I can improve on, but I think just like my confidence level this camp has skyrocketed from last season, so I'm just ready to get to work, honestly.
How much of that confidence is in addition to just sort of that wide receiver room that you're in? It's a tough room in terms of competition. You know, Kirk, Gabe, obviously bringing in Brian Thomas Jr. Just talk about how that competition has helped maybe elevate that, not just that confidence, but also your game.
I mean, the competition in the room, I mean, we're all competitive in that room. We all want to be the best receiver we could possibly be. And honestly, the way our room is, we just all want us to be better. So like Gabe helps me on the routes I be running. Like I be helping the younger guys out. And so we're all just like a collective group. So honestly, it doesn't even feel like a competition out there. It honestly feels like we're just trying to help each and every one of us get better.
You talked about that confidence increasing because of last year. Was the approach different this year? Was there anything specific that you wouldn't hone in on coming into this year?
Yeah, I think my approach, because last year, for me, I was training for trying to get drafted, focused on that. So I didn't really have time to come in and really work on the stuff that I needed to work on. So this year, I had the plan in the offseason to go back, get faster, get better at running, just become a true receiver. And I feel like this offseason, I really did that.
football is a very unforgiving game, and oftentimes you don't get the credit you deserve, especially being a wide receiver. If you don't get the ball, no one really notices what you're doing. But there have been a lot of times when we've seen you out there running wide open. You know, you've been one of the guys that continuously everyone has talked about in camp, but just having, you know, just that potential to take that next step. Where is that next step for you?
I just feel like that next step for me is just like you said, just getting the ball, being able to get the ball, get the rock in my hands, because I feel like once I get the rock in my hands, I can do very special things with it. And that's the big, like I said, that's a big goal for me this year. I want to really contribute. I want to be a part of this offense more than I was last year. Last year I wasn't really a part of the offense. I helped a little bit, but I just didn't really feel part of it. This year I feel part of the offense and feel like I'm really one of the players that can help contribute us to winning this year.
Sometimes when people approach or they look at what you do in practice and you do on game day, like game days are won on the practice field. Yeah. But, you know, is there a little bit of a different sort of, I guess, mentality in the games because there are more eyeballs, you know, on game day? Because if what you can do in the practice field is great, but if it doesn't translate to the game, obviously, you know, it's kind of a wash. So is there a little bit of a different approach and maybe a little more emphasis for you?
I mean, a little bit. I would just say, like, just because it's game day, I feel like you have a completely different level of juice going out there. Like, you feel me? It's a game day. You're playing in front of 50,000, 60,000 people. You get to know you're going out there. You're trying to really score touchdowns, really make plays out there. So I feel like in like practice, of course, you make a play, you score a touchdown. It's like, okay, you a little juiced up, but it's just like, score a touchdown. Let's go run back another play. Let's go run it back. So I just feel like game days, there's always a different feeling in the air, even like from the coaches, from the players, everybody.
All right, it's almost go time. Coverage Saturday for the Jags and Chiefs. Saturday on CBS 47. We begin at 6:30, our pregame show. We carry the game live for your viewing pleasure. And come back after the game. We break it all down. We'll have a 1-hour postgame show immediately following on CBS 47. Norvell's Knowles with one more practice in Jacksonville. How they looked on Thursday morning coming up next. And some good moments out there after practice today at Jags headquarters. Tom Coughlin J Fund bringing some kids to meet some players. Always awesome to see. Just part of the legacy of Tom Coughlin. He will be inducted into the Pride of the Jaguars in October. Get local sports on demand with Action Sports Jacks 24/7. All sports, all local, all the time. From the locker room to the field, the Jags, high school football, the Jacksonville Armada, and don't forget the Brett and Austin Show. They're all in on Trevor. Of course. Download the Action News Jacks Now app, available wherever you stream or at actionnewsjacks.com. TV, phone, laptop, desktop. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. Jacksonville sports all the time.
You're watching Action Sports Jacks, 1st and 10, Training Camp. Sponsored by Farah & Farah, the exclusive personal injury law firm of the Jaguars.
You ask, you shall receive. And we received heat, humidity. I thought it was a good, physical, tough day. I thought the guys, they battled.
Here in Jacksonville, Mike Norvell happy with a couple of days of work. A tradition born a few years back to spend a couple of practices on the road. The Florida State Seminoles' first game is getting here fast. 2 weeks from Saturday in Dublin, Ireland, not Ohio, Ireland. Welcome back to 1st and 10 Training Camp. I'm Brent Martineau. A lot of eyes on that first game in Ireland. The Noles have a target on them coming off last season. Did they reload, and can they make the college football playoff with this kind of schedule? Just a couple of questions in Tallahassee. They were back at UNF today after having practice at the Flex Field downtown because of weather on Wednesday. The Noles think these kind of sessions bring the team closer together. Now they head back to Tally to prep for the season opener. Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber with more on this trip that had to do with chemistry as much as getting better on the field.
Thursday morning's practice at UNF for Florida State football was hot, sticky, steamy, and just plain miserable. Or exactly what head coach Mike Norvell was looking for. Every year the team takes this little road trip out here to Jacksonville to bond as a team and to really get put through the elements as they hit the dog days of training camp.
It's just time together, and seeing guys from all different places, different positions. We break up the team in a lot of different areas, and then you see them work together, to see them spend time together, to get to know each other better. Because every team's different, and we're still working hard to build the identity of what this one's going to be. But times like this, definitely help. Push that, and you would have a huge focus on the relationship aspect of what this team is continuing to build.
Definitely being out here in the heat, it was a little different, from Tallahassee, but just getting back adjusted to the home weather, it was a little struggle, but we was able to push through. But just to be able to come out here and compete with the guys and get better, is always a good thing.
It's hot out here, but that's the fun part about it. These hard practices really bring the team together, so. For us to form an identity and say that we're going to be together and do this is special.
He's still out here working, but it definitely brings the team together. You know, we were at Dave & Buster's last night, just seeing all the older guys, you know, guys like 21, 23, playing games, having fun and all that. Just all that stuff just helps in the long run to bringing the team together and building those bonds.
And while those local guys certainly are used to our weather here in Northeast Florida, it's a different feel when you're talking about a high-level Division I college football practice with some of the top athletes in the country chasing after you on every single play. For Action Sports Jacks, I'm Stuart Weber.
I think we're going to start working from the parking lot on these hot days with the Action Sports Jacks team if it brings us that much closer together. Former Jags players have settled into coaches on the sideline at one area school. The story of the Stallions going into 2024 coming up next. Game balls? Who will get them late Saturday night for the Jaguars? All right, I don't really think they give game balls out in the preseason.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jacks, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jacks is always on. Now, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jacks 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.